CNN says Ted Cruz is afraid of them. So the Texas senator releases their worst nightmare by Robert Rich, Politics U.S. News for MadWorldNews.com. CNN's Chris Cuomo recently called out Senator Ted Cruz in a big way by saying the Texas senator was too afraid to talk to him. Too bad for Cuomo, things just blew up in his face as Cruz unleashed the liberal network's worst nightmare. CNN is fake news. At this point, there's no arguing against it, as you pretty much have to fact-check every report they release due to their lack of credibility. However, members of the network have actually had the audacity to fight back, saying that the claims are untrue, which is just more fake news. Perhaps most notably known for that is host Chris Cuomo, who seems to be really bothered when people call CNN fake news. For instance, take a look at how he flew off the handle when the Office of Management and Budget Director Mike Mulvaney said it to his face in the clip below.
You do not bring electricity back to an island of 3.5 million people in 2 weeks when you're starting from practically nothing, which is what they are doing.
Nobody suggests otherwise.
Well, good.
Nobody suggests otherwise, Mick.
Good.
That's why I'm saying don't call it fake. Don't call it fake, because it's not fake. Everybody gets that it's going to take time. Everybody gets that after a disaster, there's always lag and that you had infrastructure problems there. But you know what also people get who are experts in the fields that they're covering now and they're down there, whether it's Honore or the others? You could have had more people there. You could have had different distribution of assets sooner. You could be doing more now. The need is great and adjustments need to be made. And at the same time that the president in the White House was denying that, you were doing exactly that. You were bringing in Buchanan, you were bringing in more military infrastructure to do it. And that was the right move. It was the right move to bring more people in. You know that if you're on the ground.
Weird that Chris Cuomo is so defensive about being called fake news. You would start to wonder if maybe there's a little bit of truth to it.
I actually thought he was going to start to cry a little bit there. But I mean, I've been on top of this Puerto Rican narrative, and it is fake news. I mean, at one point he said, you could have had more people there. It was like Chris Cuomo wasn't listening to what Mike Mulvaney was saying. He was saying that the supplies and the people are there. There's no infrastructure to get it anywhere. There's no way to get new gasoline. The place was a mess before, and this just exposes the mess for what it was. I mean, government was the problem there, and then people expect, oh, government should, it is the only solution.
Yeah, well, they had 10,000 FEMA people there from pretty much the second after the storm went through, and Chris Cuomo's whining about how they needed more people, right, and then gets mad when the administration says, well, actually, we've had pretty much the most people we could have. It's just that all of the roads are down. You can't get trucks through to distribute supplies.
All you people at home, if you're tired of media bias, please click the link, donate to the Daily Caller News Foundation. We have as our mission to root out liberal media bias. We're here to train people to report the facts. Please donate, 10, 5, 15, whatever you can do. Let's all make this happen. I know you're angry, I'm angry. Donate some money. Thank you so much.
Well, in fact, it bugs the lying moron so much that he's even compared it to being called the N-word twice. What?
Kudos to Sebastian Murdoch from the Huffington Post for noting that CNN reporter Chris Cuomo, not once, but twice, just compared being labeled fake news to being labeled the N-word. Recently, Cuomo complained on air about how Trump had his facts wrong when he accused Cuomo of being fake news when he did an interview with Senator Richard Blumenthal. Trump said that Cuomo didn't ask the senator about him lying about his service in Vietnam, and then called Cuomo fake news for that. Cuomo said that wasn't true, that he did ask the senator the tough questions, and that Trump's accusation really upset him, because being called fake news as a journalist is just like an ethnic disparagement. He actually said that on air. Then just hours later, he went on Sirius XM and kept complaining about Trump calling him fake news, upping the ante to say that being called fake news as a journalist is the equivalent of being called the N-word. He actually said that being called fake news is just like being called the N-word. He used those words. So people called him out on it. And so then Cuomo went to Twitter to apologize, saying he was wrong and being called fake news is nothing compared to the pain of a racial slur, and that he was sorry. But he made that comparison twice before apologizing, because this is how wronged Chris Cuomo felt about the whole thing, which is ridiculous, because we're talking about Chris Cuomo here, as in Chris Cuomo from the New York Cuomos, basically New York's own little dynasty, like a local Clintons or Bushes. Chris is the son of Mario Cuomo, the former famous New York governor. He's the brother of Andrew Cuomo, the current governor. He went to the Albany Academy, a private prep school upstate. Then he went to Yale for undergrad and Fordham for his doctorate. He was the governor's son, and he received an education worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now he's got a job on CNN. This is the guy who said he felt like he was called the N-word because Trump called him fake news. Now, I actually like watching Chris Cuomo on CNN. He's always so flabbergasted at everything because the news is always so ridiculous. And you can see it written all over his face that he's just trying to do a good job, but the media is so insane. But having led such a life of privilege and then thinking you know anything about what it's like to be called the N-word, now that's some real fake news for you.
I agree with that comment. Of course, Chris Cuomo had more than earned his reputation for being fake news. However, seeing how he hates being called the term so much, which you can understand, you'd think he'd be a little more careful when it comes to what he puts out there. Intentionally skewing the facts or leaving certain details out in order to appease actually a narrative is just as bad as lying, and that's exactly what the American people are sick of from the liberal mainstream media sources like CNN. For some reason, Cuomo has perfected the craft, but has a shocking sense of self-loathing over the reality. Unfortunately, he has shown no sign of stopping and just proved that on Twitter. According to the man's recent post, he inferred that Senator Ted Cruz was a coward, saying that he was too afraid to come on CNN for an interview, as the Daily Caller reports. If Cruz thinks gun control improvement is not the answer, what is? Cuomo tweeted, "Ask the question, Senator. What are we going to do to stop school shootings? Don't just say, what won't work to find an answer." I'd twist it around and just say, why don't you give us the answer since you know it all? According to IJ Review, Cuomo's lies blew up in his face as the Texas senator unleashed the cretin's worst nightmare. In just a matter of minutes, Cruz would unveil the fact that Cuomo was fake news by saying that he had already taken part in an interview and it was actually CNN that chose not to air the footage. That's funny. I spoke to CNN for 15 minutes yesterday about proactive solutions to prevent gun violence, like passing the Grassley-Cruz bill, which Dems filibustered. That would add $300 million for school safety. Yet CNN has aired none of it. Cruz shot back, why not air the entire interview? Even better, yet he released a picture as proof that he did just as he said. Ted Cruz, here's a picture of the CNN interview, a 15-minute exclusive given yesterday, that you all still haven't aired, while falsely claiming I'm afraid to talk to CNN. Ted Cruz has never been one to shy away from a fight, and afraid should be one of the last words used to describe the man. Then again, this is what you get when you talk out of you simply make things up as you go along, okay? Chris Cuomo is a certified hack, and it's time that he gets some perspective. Cruz nailed that point home by reminding Cuomo that he is anything but afraid of the morons over at CNN. Gosh, I seem to recall doing not one, not two, but 3 town hall debates with Bernie Sanders on CNN, each 90 minutes long. You can accuse me of many things, but being afraid of CNN is not one of them, he tweeted. The fact of the matter here is that actions have consequences. Sure, mistakes happen, but they seem to happen at a rate much bigger than anywhere else when it comes to CNN. In fact, it comes at a rate so high that it's almost like it's happening on purpose. They do it on purpose, too. If CNN and Chris Cuomo don't like to be called fake news, then they're going to have to try a lot harder to make sure the truth comes out a lot more. Trust is earned, not given, and it's going to take quite a bit of time before they reestablish the credibility that they voluntarily lost with these partisan antics. No, they're just there to push a narrative. They work for the globalists. That's basically it, especially Chris Cuomo. Since he's the pretty boy on the screen, and very emotional too. Emotional. He puts on that fake emotion, like he's all upset at what Trump is not doing. Yet they had no problem with Hillary and Obama. You get it? They're just hacks. Exactly that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.